Hello one and all, it's my view of Dr. Stone, chapter 137, Last Man Standing. And right off the bat, I have to give major props to Kaseki here for building a drone. Well, first off, just building a freaking drone. This man's greatest accomplishment before he met Senku was building a bridge. Now he built a drone. But building a drone that can survive a freaking tug of war without snapping in half. I don't even know how he built this, but every piece of it is perfectly put together just to keep it from, just breaking apart like this, and it is very impressive. Anyway, the chapter opens up with what is essentially a tug-of-war, and not gonna lie, when I saw this, I was a little disappointed. I'm like, oh god, they're just pushing this fight on, making it last longer than it needs to, so they can draw this out. Come on, I want to know what happens next. I want to know the secrets about the education device, about the island, about all of that. Come on, give me some info. But instead what I got was every character being their absolute freaking best in the most awesome way imaginable. An ending that actually made me tear up a little bit, and I just friggin' loved it. Alright, so right off the bat, Ibarra's rope broke first because it's a rope, and Senku's rope is, carbon fire wires and all that stuff. So yeah, his is not gonna break quite so easily. Though you do just gotta love Ibarra's quick thinking, immediately grabbing at his sash on his side and throwing it around the drone so he can keep pulling like that. I will give this to the old man. He thinks quick on his feet. It's very impressive. And then it seems like Senku won because he's a better counter than Ibarra. He's like, oh, I've been counting for 3,000 years. You can't stop me, Ibarra. I know exactly when we need to release this. And looks right then there. Oh no, Ibarra lost. But this old man, this old conniving man is freaking good. I mean, seriously. He threw his hat to push the petrification beam towards Senku. Wow! Did not see that coming whatsoever. I mean, seriously, Ibarra's entire design came to play in this fight. His seashell armor, the claws on his fingers, his hat, his sash, every piece of it was used here, and is freaking amazing. He even says, do you really believe this cautious old man hadn't gone through endless practice countering the device? Seriously, so yeah, this is actually not something he just thought of at the top of his head. This is something he planned. He probably wore this hat just for the sake of being able to push away the petrification device when he needs to. All of this was planned, because he has a million different plans on what to do if someone gets advice, how to counter it, how to stop it, all this. It's freaking insane how prepared he is. And then Ryu storms at him and quite nearly crushes him to death because by this point he's been turned to stone. And Ibarra's all laughing like, I've won, I'm the last man standing. And then he notices that the antenna earring is on the petrification device. This all happened in a split second. There is no way Senku had time to think of this plan, communicate to Ryu, and have him act out. Meaning, Ryu on his own took off his earring, ran head first at the petrification beam, and as he's being turned to stone, attached his earring to it. Jesus freaking Christ, Ryu, how are you still my favorite character? Well, Psuka, but how are you this amazing as a character? Seriously, that's the most badass thing ever, and I freaking loved it. It's actually obvious from the look of panic on Senku's face. He didn't even realize that was what Ryu was planning. He was just as shocked as Ibarra, but then he saw it, he's like, oh, that's what he had planned. And of course, Senku throws his words right back at him. You're totally right, Ibarra. Guys who think they're clever are the easiest to trap. 5 meters, 1 second. Oh, look of panic, look of horror on Ibarra's face is... It's almost inhuman in how terrified he is. And then he is turned to stone. And at last, Senku is the last man standing. Woo! Oh my god, this chapter was amazing! I mean, that back and forth is absolutely freaking awesome, and I loved it! And then Senku just lets the fatigue wash over him. I mean, he is just drenched in sweat from this battle. I mean, if you really think all he's had to do in the last 10 minutes, he ran across the entire island, set multiple traps for Ibarra, ran across the other half of the island, had a whole tug-of-war with Ibarra, and then finally petrified him. At this point, I think Senku just needs a very long nap. And then Senku is alone. Just like when he first woke up, he's completely isolated. There's not a soul around. Everyone that is near him is just made of stone once more. And this is just really traumatizing to him because ever since he met Kohaku, he has, not been alone. He's been surrounded by people this entire time. He's had friends, people he cares about, people who are just there he can talk to. And just being alone again, just being like he was back then when he first woke up, it's definitely taking a toll on him. I mean, Senku seemed okay way back when, when he was the only person alive, as far as he knew. The hairless monkey sharpening his claws of science and all that, but I mean, they've done experiments. They've tested people, who have kept in isolation for long periods of time, and it really screws with your head. Like, a lot. And so Senku being back in the situation, it's, triggering a little PTSD right there, but then he gets a phone call, which I honestly didn't think, I forgot that was a possibility. I forgot, they can communicate back and forth with the villagers, like, at all, because that hasn't really been brought up before now. I mean, it's a phone, they use it to communicate over really long distance the first time. No reason it can't work like this. I'm actually really curious, so that means the villagers have been hearing everything Senku said to the antenna this whole time. Because that'd be really funny. They're like, what the freak is going on? Who is Senku talking to? Is he talking to us? Are we supposed to be doing something? Or maybe that's something like long range mode? I'm really not sure. But I really just have to say, I'm amazed how the antenna earring played so much a role this arc. I mean, seriously. I mean, when they first built it, it's like, oh, it's a little antenna. That way we can give Kohaku our instructions. But then it went on to be used with Moe's. Then went on to be used with Ibarra so he can overhear their conversation and turn against them. Then he used it to give Ryu the instructions. And then finally Ryu used it to turn the petrification device against Ibarra. Seriously, how is this a more important invention than the drone? That's just crazy. Anyway, as I was saying, the call, it's from Ishigami Village. It's from Senku's friends, and he realizes, he tears up just a little bit. He's not alone anymore. There are people out there, there are people still in this world who really do care about him, who really do love him, and that just means so much to him, and I absolutely freaking love it. I mean, seriously. Like I said, I teared up this part, because it's just such a great scene. I mean, Senku was about to go into a very dark place here. A little bit of, depression, a little bit of PTSD from the isolation he's experiencing right now. But no, because he's not alone. He still has these people on the other side. People he can still talk to and check in on. And I just freaking love it. I don't know if he's talked to them before this. I don't think he has, so I feel like this is going to be a very interesting conversation between him and them. Okay, so the bad news is everyone that came with me has been turned to stone, and I received a very strong wound to my shoulder, and I might be bleeding to death. The good news is I now have a device that can turn anybody to stone. It's going to require a lot of explanation to the villagers. I actually wouldn't mind in the whole next chapters to recap with him explaining to them everything that happened since he got to the island. I think it'd be absolutely freaking hilarious. So yeah. Anyway, next chapter, like I said, funny of a recap, probably not. I'm assuming it's going to be Senku waking up everyone else. I think he's out of petrification fluid. I don't see any on him, and I think he used his last bit to wake up Ryu. So it's going to take him a while to make some more and start unfreezing people. I mean, probably first and foremost Chrome, and then slowly but surely the rest of his team, and then after them they can start working their way through the villagers, because, I mean, that's going to take a really long time to wake up everyone. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of people in this island, and I don't think Senku can make Rattle Food all that quickly. But it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, maybe the end of next chapter, we finally have him unpetrify Kirasami, and she gives an explanation on where the petrification device came from. Actually, I saw a very interesting theory in the comments section I really liked that said the cult, the AI, whoever it is that caused the petrification, found this village, found this island after a few centuries, and said, hey, listen, we're going to let you keep living, but if you start building stuff, if you start rebuilding human civilization like it used to be, we're going to murder all of you. And just so you have the means of keeping your whole village under control, here's a mini petrification device. Nothing like the one we use to turn the entire world to stone, but this way you can stop criminals. Okay? Have fun. Which would make a certain amount of sense. I'm guessing whoever did this, whoever froze the world, did it because they wanted Earth to survive. I mean, it's very obvious that we are not taking good care of the Earth by any means whatsoever. So, freezing all of humanity for a few thousand years or permanently gives the Earth a chance to regrow, revive, and just replenish itself. I mean, it might be possible, the people who did this are only planning on keeping humanity petrified for another few thousand years before waking everyone back up and saying, all right, here we go, round 2, try to take better care of the Earth this time, or something like that. Though, that would have really mattered if the meteor from Reboot ended up hitting the Earth instead. Oh, who knows, but everything all down below. Who's Senku going to wake up first, and how long does it take him to freaking wake up the entire island? Do you think we'll see Senku explaining everything on the phone back to the villagers about what the frick happened? Because I really want to see that. Kurosami, I definitely think she could end up joining Senku's side. What do you think? I mean, she'd be loyal to Soyuz, I guess. Alright, just leave it all down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the next video. Until then,
Peace.